IELTS Speaking Part 1. Driving. Question 1. Do you like driving? Model answer. Band 6 answer. Yes, I like driving. I think it's convenient because I can travel anytime I want. I'm not a very experienced driver, but I feel relaxed when I drive on quiet roads. Band 7 answer. Yes, I enjoy driving, especially when the weather is good. It gives me a sense of freedom because I can choose my own route and travel at my own pace. Although I'm not a very skilled driver yet, I find it relaxing when the road isn't too crowded. Band 8 answer. Yes, I really enjoy driving because it gives me a strong sense of independence. When I'm behind the wheel, I can decide where to go, how fast to travel, and even take scenic routes if I want to unwind. Although I still consider myself a developing driver, I appreciate the peaceful feeling I get when driving on quieter roads or countryside highways. Question 2. Where was the last place you drove? Model answer. Band 6 answer. The last place I drove to was a supermarket near my home. I went there to buy some groceries. It was only a short drive, maybe around 10 minutes. Band 7 answer. The last place I drove was a supermarket near my neighborhood. I needed to buy groceries and some household items, so I took the car instead of walking. It wasn't far, but driving made it more convenient, especially since I had a lot of things to carry. Band 8 answer. The last place I drove was a local supermarket near my home. I needed to stock up on fresh food and some cleaning supplies, so driving made the trip more convenient. Even though it was a short 10-minute drive, it reminded me how useful driving is, especially when I have heavy bags to carry. It also saves time compared to walking or taking the bus. Question 3. Where do you like to sit in a car? Model answer. Band 6 answer. I usually like to sit in the front passenger seat. It's comfortable, and I can see the road clearly. I don't feel dizzy when I sit in the front. Band 7 answer. I usually prefer sitting in the front passenger seat because it gives me more space and a better view of the road. I rarely get motion sickness when I sit in the front, so it's the most comfortable spot for me. Band 8 answer. When I'm not driving, I prefer sitting in the front passenger seat because it offers the best visibility and comfort. I enjoy observing the surroundings through the front window, and I rarely experience motion sickness there. For me, that seat makes long drives much more enjoyable, whether I'm chatting with the driver or simply listening to music. Question 4. Is driving common in your country? Model answer. Band 6 answer. Yes, driving is common. Many people drive to work or school every day. But in big cities like Tokyo, people often use trains because traffic can be very heavy. Band 7 answer. Driving is quite common, but it depends on the city. In larger cities like Tokyo or Osaka, many people use public transportation because it's faster and more efficient. However, in smaller towns or rural areas, most people rely on cars for daily activities since buses and trains are less frequent. Band 8 answer. Driving is fairly common in my country, but its popularity really depends on the region. In major cities like Tokyo, the public transportation system is so well developed that many people don't feel the need to own a car. Trains are faster and more convenient for commuting. However, in rural areas or suburban towns, driving is essential because public transport is limited. People rely on cars for shopping, going to work, and even visiting friends. So overall, driving is a big part of daily life, especially outside large metropolitan areas. IELTS Speaking Part 2. A famous person. Describe a famous person you would like to meet. You should say who he or she is, how you knew him or her, how or where you would like to meet him or her, and explain why you would like to meet him or her. You have 1 minute to prepare. You have 2 minutes to talk. Model answer. Band 6 answer. I would like to talk about a famous person I want to meet, and that person is Hayao Miyazaki, the Japanese animation director. I knew him from watching Studio Ghibli movies when I was young. His films are very popular, and many people around the world know his work. I would like to meet him at the Ghibli Museum in Mitaka, because it's a place that shows his drawings and ideas. I think it would be a comfortable and quiet place to talk to him. The museum has many displays about his creative process, so I think meeting him there would feel meaningful. I want to meet him because his movies have inspired me a lot. They taught me about imagination, nature, and being kind to others. I also study art, so I want to learn how he comes up with his ideas. I think meeting him would be a very special experience for me. Band 7 answer. The famous person I would like to meet is Hayao Miyazaki, the legendary animation director from Japan. I first learned about him through Studio Ghibli films when I was a child, and later I read interviews and articles about his life and creative style. Over the years, I've become more interested in his philosophy as well as his movies. If possible, I would like to meet him at the Ghibli Museum in Mitaka, because the museum perfectly represents his world. It would be inspiring to walk through the exhibits with him and listen to him talk about how certain scenes or characters were created. I imagine it would be a peaceful and artistic place to have a conversation. The main reason I would like to meet him is that his movies have deeply influenced the way I see storytelling and art. His films show a balance of imagination and reality, and they often include messages about protecting nature and appreciating small moments in life. As someone studying concept art, I would love to ask him about how he builds visual worlds and how he keeps creativity alive for so many years. Meeting him would not just be exciting, it would also motivate me to continue improving my own artistic skills. Band 8 answer. The famous person I would most like to meet is Hayao Miyazaki, one of the most influential animation directors in the world. I first became aware of him through classic Studio Ghibli films such as Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle. As I grew older, I began reading more about his directing style, his strong opinions about modern animation, and his philosophy on creativity and environmental issues. All of this made me appreciate not only his films but also the way he thinks. Ideally, I would love to meet him at the Ghibli Museum in Mitaka, because that space feels like stepping directly into his imagination. I imagine walking through the exhibits with him, observing the original sketches, hearing the stories behind certain scenes, and listening to how he dealt with artistic challenges throughout his career. The museum has a peaceful and nostalgic atmosphere, which I think would make the conversation more personal and meaningful. I want to meet him because his works have shaped my artistic journey in many ways. His storytelling shows a rare combination of fantasy, realism, and emotional depth. He portrays childhood, nature, and courage in a way that feels timeless. As someone studying concept art, I'm fascinated by his ability to create entire worlds that feel alive and culturally rich. Another reason I admire him is his dedication. Even after announcing retirement several times, he continues creating because he genuinely loves drawing and storytelling. I find that passion extremely inspiring, especially in an era where many creative decisions are influenced by trends or marketing. To me, meeting Miyazaki wouldn't just be about meeting a famous person, it would be meeting someone who has influenced my imagination, my artistic goals, and even the way I understand beauty in everyday life. IELTS Speaking Part 3. A famous person. Question 1. Why do people admire famous people? Model answer. Band 6 answer. People admire famous people because they are talented or successful. Many people feel inspired when they see someone achieve something great. For example, in Japan, people admire athletes or singers because they work very hard. It gives people motivation to improve themselves. Another reason is that famous people are often on TV or social media, so people feel familiar with them. Band 7 answer. People admire famous people for different reasons. Some admire their skills, like actors who perform well or athletes who win international competitions. Others admire their personal qualities, such as discipline, passion, or creativity. In Japan, for example, many young people admire musicians or manga artists because their work brings joy and comfort. Also, when celebrities share their struggles publicly, people feel connected to them and respect them even more. Band 8 answer. People admire famous individuals not just for their success, but for what they represent. Many celebrities show determination, creativity, or resilience, which inspires ordinary people to keep pursuing their own goals. In Japan, for instance, admired figures like Hayao Miyazaki or well-known athletes such as Naomi Osaka influence people because they combine talent with strong personal values. In addition, modern media allows people to learn about celebrities' personal stories, which makes their achievements feel more relatable. This emotional connection is often what drives admiration. Question 2. Do you think famous people have more influence today than in the past? Model answer. Band 6 answer. Yes, I think famous people have more influence now. Because of the internet, people can see their lives every day. Many people follow celebrities on social media, so their opinions spread very fast. In the past, people only saw them on TV, so the influence was smaller. Band 7 answer. I believe famous people have much stronger influence today. Social media gives them direct access to millions of followers, so their messages, lifestyles, and even personal choices influence trends very quickly. For example, in Japan, when a famous actor or singer recommends a product, it often becomes popular instantly. In the past, celebrities appeared mainly in newspapers or TV programs, so the impact was slower and more limited. Band 8 answer. Yes, their influence has increased significantly. Compared to the past, today's famous people have constant visibility through platforms like Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok, which gives them unprecedented power to shape opinions, fashion, and even social movements. In Japan, for example, when well-known public figures speak about environmental issues or mental health, it immediately sparks national conversations. This real-time, large-scale influence simply did not exist in earlier decades, when celebrities depended on traditional media to communicate with the public. Question 3. Do young people and older people admire different kinds of famous people? Model answer. Band 6 answer. Yes, they admire different people. Young people usually admire singers or YouTubers because they are fun and active. Older people admire people like writers, politicians, or actors they grew up watching. Their interests are very different. Band 7 answer. Yes, there is a clear difference. Younger people tend to admire influencers, musicians, or athletes because they enjoy energetic and modern content. Older people often prefer individuals who have long-term achievements, such as authors, traditional actors, or historical figures. In Japan, for example, teenagers might follow popular idols, while older generations admire classic actors or respected business leaders. Band 8 answer. Absolutely. Young people and older people admire different types of famous figures because their values and experiences differ. Younger generations often look up to celebrities who represent creativity, freedom, and self-expression, such as digital creators, singers, or fashion influencers. Meanwhile, older adults tend to admire individuals who reflect stability, experience, and long-term dedication, such as established writers, traditional actors, or cultural leaders. In Japan, this contrast is very visible. Teenagers follow pop idols or anime creators, while older people respect long-running actors from NHK dramas or influential entrepreneurs. These differences show how age shapes what people value in public figures. Question 4. Should famous people be responsible for setting a good example? Model answer. Band 6 answer. I think yes, because many people watch them. If they do something bad, young people might copy them. So famous people should try to behave well. It's part of being popular. Band 7 answer. Yes, I think famous people should take some responsibility. Since they have many followers, their behavior can influence young people's attitudes or lifestyle choices. For example, in Japan, when a famous athlete shows good sportsmanship, many students feel inspired. Of course, celebrities are human too, but they should still be aware of their public image. Band 8 answer. I believe famous people should at least be aware of the impact they have. They don't need to be perfect, but their actions can shape cultural values and social norms. In Japan, for instance, public figures who show humility, discipline, or respect often gain deeper admiration because these qualities align with cultural expectations. On the other hand, when celebrities behave irresponsibly, it can create negative influence or public distrust. Therefore, while they shouldn't be forced to be role models, they should understand the responsibility that naturally comes with their visibility and influence.
Congrats on making it to the end of this video, and kudos to you if you did all that practice. You are amazing. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below, and you can also add my official LINE account that's in the profile. And if you do this, then I can send you a free phrases guide that you can use for your practice. All right, happy studying. See ya.